What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, I know it's been a hot minute since we've dived into the Sorare streets, but I thought I wanted to get a video out just before Christmas. And I thought, let's run through some of the cards that I've won, some of the cash that I've won, run you through some of the other lineups that I'm going to be having for this week, and, just have a little bit of a Sorare gallery update as well, shall we say. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Right then, as you can probably see as well here, it's probably a little bit zoomed out, so we'll scroll into that one as well, just to make sure you can see properly. We have 18 rewards that we've won over the past sort of week or so. We've done very well recently as well. We've been sort of grinding away at the leaderboards in both Classic and in-season. I've started to sort of dip my whole foot in now towards in-season and just trying to build the gallery up so we're in a good space come... I wanted to be in a good space that I could have at least 1, 2, maybe 3 lineups in limited and rare for Christmas time. And then also I want to have my gallery set up so we can start attacking it post-Christmas as we go into All-Star. I just want to have some variance that I think when sometimes my lineups aren't amazing in Classic, but they could be a little bit more beneficial on the in-season if I go and buy 1 or 2 cards. I'm just trying to take advantage of some of the market credits that's being given. There is I do want to sit down and go through everything that we've seen in Sorare so far this year. And I've really enjoyed a lot of the updates that they made to the NBA game this season. I just still think there's a few things to sort of minorly tweak, but they're not big deals. I've really enjoyed the gameplay, sort of the style of it this year. They haven't sort of gone too crazy with the changes, but they've made some small changes here and there. I think Daily Hoops has been really fun. I think the way in which they do other things on Daily Hoops as well could be tweaked, but I've got no real complaints for it. Taking advantage as well of the Neon Christmas stuff. I think today it's just a football one when I'm recording this, but I think there's 1 day of it left tomorrow. But if you haven't, I think they trialed this as a sort of potential area of which they can see to try and get people that aren't playing the game as much on the free-to-play side to try and push them over into the pro side. And I think it's worked to an extent. So I think we'll see a little bit more of this going forward as well. But yeah, if we go into sort of where we are now, I've got 18 rewards, some of which is cash, some cards that I'll probably open up right now. But a lot of it, again, is boxes. So I won't bore you with the boxing opening of that. And that's one of the other things as well. I think the box stuff just takes a little bit. I think on the NBA front, I'd like to see them add a very small percentage of it being you're able to win a card, just because then there's that other element to it. Whereas I know now it's almost like a chore to me to go in and open the boxes every time, because it's like, well, I'm either going to get 1 essence, 3 essence, or 10 essence. And it's fine, but it is just a little bit like, I'd rather just sort of claim all. And that wasn't the point of it. I think it was meant to be seen as another reward opening style. In any case, I am up to 422 on the limited essence, 89 on the rare essence, and 16 on the super essence. So we're just chipping away. The thing that does worry me on the super S side is that if all of the essence runs out towards the end of the year, I'm not sure I'm going to even get to 75. And I'm putting 2 lineups in a week. And they're not bad lineups by any stretch of the imagination at all. But regardless, I'm going to be chipping away at the essence as we go throughout the season. I think the limited one I wanted to save, and I want to get it up to 500, and then I'll make a video on ripping that and see what we get for it. And sort of if it was also worth it, because in the time that I craft one of the tier 1 pluses with the boosted odds, because I think if you get to 400, you can rip one, but you're not projected a star. Whereas this one, even then, you're still not expected to get a star, but obviously you've got a better chance at it. I want to see if it's worth it in comparison to, I could have crafted 10 tier 4 pluses, because even then you're going to get some of the guys that are the low rated ones that you can keep in your galleries that come the end of the season, or come random freak injuries to players and sort of depth charts that are just blundered into the 4th rotation. Sometimes you do get guys that end up being worth quite a lot. So it would be an interesting one for me to see if it was worth saving my essence all this way. The rare one, I'm not sure when I'll pull the trigger on that one. Probably at the 100 mark on a tier 3 one, but potentially I'll keep it to the 325. Who knows? Especially now that I'm playing some more of the in-season stuff for it. In any case, let's open the rewards that we did get from here. I did come 38th in Limited Champion. Again, I have a Denver sort of stack. I bought a Jokic in-season card, trying out some of the Pelicans stacks as well, and just blending them together with some of the legacy cards and the historical cards that I've had before that have obviously got high level XP, has helped in terms of just slowly building up an ETH balance that I can keep in reserve for potentially special edition cards that I want to buy, or just to pull out of Sorare in general. Then we also come 120th in a champion. We came 42nd in common contender as well, and 56th in limited contender. So I'm trying to remember what tiers these are. I think this is maybe a tier 1, maybe a tier 2. Walker Kessler, I forget they're all new. They're all in these neon Christmas packs still that you can open up to get a limited edition and special edition card. I don't have a Jazz collection. I'm not sure I'm going to be going for them. So, for example, Walker Kessler, probably going to try and move him on. Tristan Thompson, I do have some Cavs guys. I got a Donovan Mitchell as a reward the other week. I have a Karis LeVert that I already had from, what did I get that for? I think I got him out of a box. So, goes into the collection score for it. I will keep Tristan Thompson. Not going to be much use in the playing sense, and then Derek White. Wow, from limited contender. Okay, 56th in limited contender. Yeah, that must have been a tier 1 card. So that's not too bad. Again, I already have about 4 Derek Whites. I don't think I'm going to go for the Boston collection this year, but I might hold on to him depending on if they have new sort of daily competitions and stuff that requires these cards. We'll click claim all on the rest, so all of them can come through on the boxes side of things. But again, it's a load of 2 stars, some 3 stars, a 5-star here or there, and a 4-star. But all of this each week is just slowly chipping away at Essence to try and get something in the bigger sense. So I think what we'll do now, we'll move over onto the lineups and what I'm doing, and then we'll have a bit of a discussion from there. Right then, before we do go into all of the 28 lineups that I'm now getting every week on Sorare, yes, 28, that does take quite a long time to put together. I would have to have a tool that helps me sift through my large gallery to find the optimal lineups that I can put in situations like that. And that is top tier projections. Let's cut now to an old video of me talking about top tier projections. For season 3 on Sorare NBA, I've partnered up with top tier projections to help optimize my lineups and help me win even more rewards this year. They have industry leading projections for every competition and player in Sorare this season on the NBA, including the NBA Cup and other chases that are going to be coming out throughout the year. If you are looking to gain a little edge over the competition in the Sorare streets, I have left a link in the description down below for you to get started. And better yet, if you use code George10 as on the screen here, it will set you up with a nice little 10% discount for the whole season. I'll see you at the top of the leaderboards, and let's get back to the video. Well, yeah, I mean, I can't explain to you how I just traveled in time there and changed clothes to demonstrate the benefits of top tier projections, but I have indeed. Anyway, no, but on a serious note, top tier projections is a great tool to use if you play Sorare a lot. Even if you're actually starting out, it's amazing because especially on these common champion and contender modes that I just won a card from, if you didn't see in tier 4, I help me use them in terms of finding out who's like sort of the low value, the low cap, the low salary guy each week that you should be playing, and then you can partner up with some of your existing gallery. And it does work over the course of the year. Every single week, it is a go-to for me when I'm building up my lineup. So like I said before, there is a link in the description down below if you want to check it out and just learn a little bit more about them. In any case, the guys that I'm using this week is Ryan Hollins and Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony was one of the guys that helped me win the Derek White that you just saw as well last week. He had an obscene 35-point night. Again, he was a guy a couple of weeks back that never really delivered. Then randomly, obviously, because Orlando have been hit by a lot of injuries, he's come up big. But we're going to run with him again in the common contender. And honestly, these ones here, I just use some of the guys that haven't found their way in my classic lineups, but I can play them in here. And this is what one of the benefits of Sorare has been this year, that there is lots of places to play cards this year. So you can end up getting at least something each week from the cards that you're playing. The in-season stuff. Now, again, I'm slowly, like the Limited Champion 2 lineup here is sort of nearly borderline a throwaway lineup, but I want to take advantage of using the stacks that I'm getting of these new season cards, because regardless, if I can get top 725, you're going to get a 5-star box. From there, you might hit the 20 rare essence, but 9 times out of 10, you should be pulling some limited essence or some market credits that can just stack. And when I've got like an old school, a classic Jason Tatum from last year, who I wouldn't have played in any of my other classic lineups, I can throw him in with some of the other like collection cards that I've been like accruing to hopefully end up turning that into it. And then who knows, if one of them goes nuts and Karis LeVert has a 30-point night, maybe it's a few dollars that gets added in there as well. But Cole Anthony, like I mentioned, is a smash play, I think, this week. Anthony Davis, Nikola Jokic, and then Bradley Beal should see a boost in his minutes and sort of production with no Devin Booker for there. And Yusuf Nurkic's cap is just on the floor because he's not been playing too great. Same thing that I said with the limited champion one there. Kind of doing it with the limited contender one here as well. 2 or 3 guys that have got nice caps, and then just throwing them in there to see what's what and see if I can pick up a box from there. In any case, my limited champion lineups here, I've got a couple of Giannis's that I'm playing across some of these here. Teaming him up with an Embiid. I did this in the other week as well. Embiid's cap's fallen to 44, and even if he only plays one of the 2 games, Joel Embiid for 44 cap is just quite silly, really. So you have to have him in a lineup in some capacity if you've got one of him. I have one from the very first season. Partner him up with a Giannis and then a few of the other guys this week that are around the sort of the 30 cap modes, like a Fred VanVleet. Ben Simmons is in a classic champion lineup for me. Yes, sort of since the Dennis Schroeder trade, Ben Simmons has become sort of the guy that they want to try and now kick on and see if they can pick up some trade value for him, or if any case, just to see if they can grow his potential back to what it was. Obviously, he's declined in recent years, but I think in this new system, there's no sort of pressure whatsoever on Ben Simmons. So it'd be kind of nice to see him play some extended minutes over the course of this season. Whether or not that's going to happen or not is a completely different kettle of fish. And then Luka Doncic as well. I think Luka's been slept on this week because Giannis is so far and away the most favoured MVP. But if Luka can get some minutes on the court as an MVP, he's almost an alternative. He's like a differential this week, which is kind of nuts, really, when you throw it out there. Again, like when we're talking about sort of accruing essence and boxes, there's 9 limited lineups here that I've got, 12 if we include the in-season ones. So if I can get a box out of each of them, some essence as well, it's going really well. It's just, I think that's where they need to then add the ability to get a card, even if it's really small in these boxes, just to keep other people entertained and sort of engaged with it. But we can talk about that another time for sure. Rare, like I mentioned as well, sort of trying to get into the in-season stuff of this. I have a Brooklyn collection as well. So Ben Simmons now falling into that sort of category of being a play this week has been quite nice and fortunate. I picked up a Jackson Davis as well a couple of weeks back. And just, it's a rare contender lineup. Again, there's like 700 people, I think, that play rare contender in season each week. So if you can kind of get in the top 30%, you'll pick yourself up a 3-star box. And they are different 3-star boxes, I do believe, to the one that's in champion in the rare side of things. They might be the same. But again, if you do hit the jackpot and hit the super rare essence, that'd be great to hit once or twice this year. Obviously, 0.5%, so it's very unlikely. But again, it's another few rare essence pieces that you can just slowly add on and tick up sort of twice a week in this sense, because obviously we're getting 2 locks every single week. Rare champion, like I said before, Giannis is going to play out there. Like I mentioned with top tier projections, obviously they have the guys that they'll have on their value. So how many points they think they're going to go above their cap, for example, is what I mean by value. And I don't listen to it verbatim. I don't take the whole list and go, yes, I'm going to have the top 5 there, because obviously it's just projections at the end of the day. So they might be wrong. And you go with your gut feeling 9 times out of 10. So for example, Fred VanVleet was the smash play, but I didn't want him in my rare champion lineup. So I thought, yeah, I'll throw him in the contender one, and then I'll play Jordan Poole instead. Now, yes, I know there's a whole thing of me with Jordan Poole from a few seasons back. But again, I think Jordan Poole is one of those guys that's perfect for so rare because, yes, he can have a game where he'll get 11 so rare points, but he can also have a game where he can get 55. So his L10 normally balances out around that mark that you can play him in these lineups that have really high ceilings. And that's what I've got for this one. For example, obviously, we've got Ayton, Porzingis, and Gordon, who have all been a little bit injury-prone recently. So it's not ideal in that sense, but we'll roll them out. And then the other one is a little bit of the same sort of thing. Cole Anthony, like I said before. And then I can pair him up with an AD, a Carl Anthony Towns, and a Jaylen Brown, whose L10's fallen to 34, I do believe. I've got him at a 20% bonus here. So it's just mix and matching with the projections, and then going also with your gut feeling. And then rare contender, same sort of style. Bobby Portis, I think, is going to be a really good play this week. Jalen Suggs is sort of known as now the guy, now that Wagner and Banchero have gone down injured for the Magic. And just a few other pieces that I like. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about before I do go is my Super Rare gallery, because I haven't really added to it properly this season. I did plan on sort of going down the in-season route and trying to pick some guys up on auction and using the market credits. But the only thing that worries me is how hard it is to move on from Super Rare players if you don't want them in your gallery any longer. Like the Super Rare market, especially the secondary market, is very neglected, I feel. And I'd really like to see Sorare have a bit of a sort of push on the Super Rare stance, especially as well on the new auctions market and everything that comes with it. But on the secondary market, like they're taking a 5% fee from these, especially on the big cards. That's a decent chunk of money. I'd like to see them sort of push it a little bit more and have a little bit more incentive to get people into super rare, because I feel like they just haven't this year. That's the only thing that I can see where I'm like, that doesn't really make sense to me. But apart from, again, these are very small issues because I'm loving season 3, but there's just a few things here and there that I'm like, man, that doesn't really make sense to me. But there'll be reasons for it. But in any case, like, I picked a team here with 2 games on each of them. Same thing as super rare where I can, but I think with super rare as well, like the contender one, I've come 12th in super rare contender so many times, or like top, or like 10th or 15th. But to crack that top 7 is so difficult. Like, it's so hard on the classic contender side of things. So maybe the answer is to go into the in-season side of things. But I think, again, that may be the issue, that if people are trying to play in the classic and the classic modes and it's so hard to win, then it is a little bit off-putting to then go out and pick up. The barrier is 3 in-season super rares. It's not 2, it's not 1, it's 3. So there is a barrier to then go up that level on the in-season side. But yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think. I'd love to also know where you're playing the majority of the time. So obviously I've got 28 lineups here. I've got a really big limited gallery, a fairly decent rare gallery, and then a pretty small super rare one. But it's all of the cards that I've picked up have been sort of, I've thought about each and every single one of them and how long I'd have them for. I'd love to know where you're at with your galleries and things like that, and just sort of how you're finding, now we're nearly 20 weeks into So Rare Season 3, where you're benefiting and where you're playing your cards and stuff like that from. And that's going to wrap that one up there from me. Thank you very much for watching. Like I said before, I'd love to know sort of where your gallery's at, how you're playing. Obviously, now we're in around 20 weeks into So Rare Season 3, where you're in limited rare, if you're in super rare, what your thoughts have been for your gallery, what you're planning on doing next. Like, are you going to be going into in-season rare, in-season super rare, in-season limited, for example? I'd love to know a little bit more, just to sort of understand where other people are at that are obviously playing this game as much as I do. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We'll see you in the new year for sure with another podcast and some more So Rare content. But apart from that, thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.